Welcome to Hospitality Folks, a podcast about the people behind great hospitality. I'm your host, Alicia Dick-Wahlberg. Join me as we talk with hotel teams, managers, and operators about hiring, culture, and what it really takes to build teams that perform at high levels and stay. Hi, Julia. I'm so happy to be talking to you today about the human-centered leadership in high-pressure environments. As we dive into it, maybe you can say your name and introduce yourself about how you ended up working in hospitality regarding quality and training.
Yes, absolutely. First of all, thanks for having me. I'm Julia. I'm passionate about building exceptional hotel teams through quality, clarity, and care. My journey started on the front lines at a small bed and breakfast in Oxford, which made me fall in love with this industry and the work. And from there, I moved to the Hyatt Regency in Cologne, where I did a deep dive apprenticeship across 8 departments like housekeeping, front desk, F&B, VIP floor, concierge. That gave me the visceral understanding of what it takes to deliver a great service, but also where the gaps and the pressures lie. And I realized that sustainable excellence isn't just about enforcing standards, it's about empowering people to understand and to own them. And that led me into quality assurance and training roles and assignments where I could bridge the gap between the frontline reality and the strategic vision, but also where I could turn standards into meaningful habits and great guest experiences into consistent outcomes.
Wow. So it sounds like you have literally dipped your foot into every sector of hospitality. And I mean, that must have been quite the experience that really led to understanding what quality is and how to deliver quality in teams.
Yes.
When you think back to your earliest hospitality roles, what moments shaped how you lead your teams and interact with teams today?
Well, at this point, I have to give a huge shout out to all my first supervisors at the Holt Hotel. It was my first official work experience. I was green, eager. I knew nothing about hospitality. And what shaped me wasn't just learning the task. It was how they taught me with incredible patience, with genuine passion and a sense of fun. And most importantly, also trust. They empowered me to take ownership of the small things very early on, which built my confidence. And that experience also ingrained in me that leadership isn't about showing off authority. It's about creating an environment of psychological safety where people feel supported enough to learn, to grow, and even make mistakes. And I lead today by trying to pass on that same gift of patient guidance and trust they first gave me back then.
That's amazing to hear. I mean, hospitality is often extremely fast paced, it's high pressure. And to hear that early on, your managers and mentors really gave you the room to maybe make mistakes and gave you the trust to handle things. And that's
Yes,
amazing.
yes, indeed it was. I'm really grateful for those people.
In those experience and how you've developed your skills today and worked with teams all over in hospitality, what does high pressure really look like behind the scenes that guests really never actually get to see?
So it's really the invisible multitasking in a very interrupt-driven environment. Imagine simultaneously handling a check-in queue while coordinating a last-minute room change as the phone rings and a VIP special request comes through, all while maintaining a calm smile. Behind the scenes, it's a constant dance of prioritization and adaptability where plans and priorities change by the minute, and focus is also often fractured. The pressure isn't just the volume of tasks, it's also the emotional labor of managing stress internally while delivering seamless grace externally. It's the reality of solving 5 problems at once, often before the guest even knows one exists, like a key system failing a check-in, a supplier letting you down minutes before the banquet, or handling an audit while the team is already stretched thin.
Absolutely. In those moments, from your point of view, what do teams actually need the most from their leaders?
I would say clarity, calm, and trust in a moment like the one that I've just described. The team, or in that case, for example, just me, needs a leader who provides absolute clarity on what to prioritize. I need someone to cut through that noise and say, hey, this is what we're focusing on now. They also need visible calm, because panic is contagious, but so is composure. So when a leader stays grounded, it gives everyone permission to breathe and think straight as well. And Perhaps also most importantly, they need to feel trusted and supported to know that even if something goes wrong, the leaders has their back. It's not about having all the answers, about creating the safety to act decisively and the confidence that they won't be left alone to face the fallout.
Do you maybe want to talk about empathy and leadership? What does empathy, in your point of view, actually look like in practice on a busy shift or during those crazy audits or any of that sort?
So, empathy in practice is active listening and responsive communication for me. On a busy shift, it might look like noticing someone is overwhelmed and quietly stepping in to help them catch up. And during an audit, it starts with understanding that the team is often anxious. I frame the audit always as a collaborative tool, not as a fault finding mission. A very tangible example is, for example, how I ask questions during an audit. If I see the team member starting to answer in a direction that shows they misinterpret the question, maybe because of language or simply different framing, I don't just stick to the script. I listen to the intent, I rephrase the question in real time, and I guide the conversation back on track. It's not about calling them out, it's about truly understanding what they know and ensuring they feel heard and not interrogated. Empathy in these moments is about removing the barriers, whether they're stress, language, or fear, and creating a space where honest dialogue and real improvement can happen. It's asking the question of what is getting in your way instead of why didn't you do this? It's leading with curiosity and not necessarily judgment.
I absolutely love that, leading with curiosity and without judgment. And I feel like I love talking about the art of listening. And I feel
Yes.
like that dives right in. Like you're finding the real problems. It's upselling to guests. Oh, it's their first time here, but they're leaving early in the morning. Maybe they want an early checkout with breakfast already delivered to their room. These small upsells by listening to what they want. It's the same thing with leadership, and showing that empathy really drives home the difference between a great leader in hospitality and a boss.
Yes, yes, 100%, 100%.
You've talked about safety, and especially with psychological and emotional safety in environments. Where are mistakes that you feel are very visible and costly for teams?
So if you want to create psychological safety in these kind of environments, it starts by decoupling mistakes from failure. So, for example, I share my own mistakes very openly, like miscommunication during a system rollout very early in my career. And I frame errors as data points for learning. So, in audits, for example, I emphasize we're evaluating processes, not people. I build rituals like blameless debriefs after intense events where the only goal is to learn. And I celebrate also when someone flags a near miss out or admits an error early, because that's the culture that prevents the big issues.
Yeah. So for me, that sounds like you are driving mistake culture to the perfect level green flag. Could you maybe share an example of a mistake that you made and how you train your team not to follow in your footsteps and to showcase one, it's okay to make mistakes, and also learn from me, don't do this?
Yes. So one of the biggest mistakes that I did very early in my career is really not asking for help. So I'm a person who really takes a lot of pride in their work. I really take pride in delivering good outcomes, and I really take pride in the work that I do and the outcomes that I own. However, I'm just a person, I'm just a human. I can't do it all. And that easily can lead into a lot and very high stressful to very high stressful outcomes. It can lead quickly into overworking, and it can also lead quickly into sickness as well. So what I try to tell my team is like, it's okay to ask for help. It's not a sign of failure. It's not a sign of not necessarily knowing what you're doing. It's really rather the opposite of showing like, hey, I know I'm just a human. I know I'm not in this alone. We're doing this all together. Where I really try to kind of coach them on being comfortable and feeling safe enough to ask for that help when it's needed.
I think that's a beautiful message. I mean, hospitality has one of the highest employee turnover rates out of any industry. And one of the big cases is burnout. Not
Yes.
one, being able to ask for help, and two, not having the help when they need it. And
Yes.
I think leading with that mentality that you just showcased would make a huge difference across the industry.
Yes, I hope.
What advice would you give to someone who's stepping into their first leadership role in hospitality?
I will tell them to lead with their ears first. Like their team normally knows the problems. Their job is to listen and to empower them to solve them. Don't just hide behind your title or your desk. Be visible, be helpful, and be honest when you don't know something, and protect your team's energy. Recognize the effort, celebrate the small ones, and also always have the back in front of guests. Like leadership in itself is also a service role for the team.
And I know in our previous conversations, you are currently looking for your next role, your next team to dive into. Hopefully that changes, fingers crossed, in the next couple of days with what's going on. But in the case, if a future employer or recruiter is listening to this episode, what do you hope they understand about how you lead and work with teams?
I hope they understand that I lead with a deep belief that excellence is a team sport built on trust and psychological safety. My approach isn't about really enforcing standards from a distance. It's about rolling up my sleeves and bridging the gap between strategic goals and on the ground reality. I bring a unique blend of frontline hospitality experience and corporate rigor, which allows me to connect both authentically with the teams, but also translate challenges into actionable improvements and foster environments where people feel genuinely supported to grow and to perform. And ultimately, I would measure my success not just by audit scores or project outcomes, but by whether the teams I work with feel more capable, more confident, and more valued than when we began.
So, in the first time we talked, I remember thinking, wow, this person is such a bridge person. Like, as you said, roll up your sleeves, you're a doer. You have this beautiful way of connecting with people in all different areas. And not only are you tech able, you're teaching the team how to use all these different softwares, and you have such a detailed idea of how to describe it to people in different roles and different thinking patterns. And I think it's such a rarity, and anywhere you land is going to be so blessed.
That is really kind of you to say. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
And just a quick final glass question. If I could give you a magic wand and you could change anything about either hiring or working in hospitality tomorrow, what would you change and why?
I would change our tendency to hire for the job today, not the leader tomorrow, because we often look for someone who can handle the pressure right now, but overlook the capacity to grow, adapt, and inspire others over time. I'd shift the focus toward potential empathy and learnability because technical skills can be taught, but the heart to serve and the mind to lead, they cannot be. And I'd pair that with a commitment to continuous meaningful development, not just training for tasks, but investing in careers. When you give people a path forward, purpose in their work, genuine support, you don't just necessarily fill roles, you also build loyalty, you elevate standards, and you create leaders from within. And that's how you sustain excellence, both for your team, but also for your guests.
I mean, I could not agree more. I had been feeling this pain point since I was an operations manager back in the US, and I felt the same way. I could teach anyone the skills, I could teach you
Yeah,
sales techniques, but I couldn't teach kindness and
no.
empathy and drive to help customers. Thank you so much, Julia, for joining us on our very first episode. I will leave your LinkedIn contact in the post. So if anyone wants to follow you along or reach out to you, that they can definitely do that very easily.
Thank you again. Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure to be on this podcast. It's been absolutely amazing sharing my insights. And I'm absolutely thrilled also to see what's coming now for Folk's Nest. Big shout out to you and good luck for you.
If you found this episode helpful, follow and subscribe to Hospitality Folks and share this episode with your team.